up, everybody? It's me, Johnny. With me, I've got DiJaDi, Farmer, and Craig. I'm not giving you guys a chance to say hello. What's up, Craig?
I'm saying hi to Craig, not to you.
And this is episode 7 or 5 or 6. I mean, it is a episode.
It is an episode. Yeah.
Audio only episode of our new visual podcast that we've been doing this season. Very exciting. And it's already over. You know, apparently I went to the bank 30 minutes before our record time, and apparently in that time, we already finished the podcast, you guys, before I got
Anyway,
back.
we haven't even started yet
finished,
either.
We finished, but we forgot to record, so basically it's a do-over.
All right. So one of the things we meant to talk about last week, but we just got, you know, I love how this podcast is like old men shaking their fist at the sky. I love how this podcast is like us just hating on gamer culture, because we didn't talk about how Firefly is back.
That's right, and we meant to. Yeah.
Oh man, that's right. I forgot about that.
It's back with an asterisk.
I also, so I was watching that Instagram series unfold, and I purposefully did not share it with you, John, because there are certain things that annoy me that I know would also annoy you. And the way that Instagram series unfolded with Nathan Fillion knocking on various actors' doors and saying like coy, vague, ambiguous things like, "Is it time?
It's time."
And the other person going like, "It's time." It's like, my gosh. Like, and a dude that 7 times over and one a week or one every few days or whatever, and like have to wait. Like, oh my gosh, I knew you would hate it. And I was like, I'm not sharing it with him.
Oh man.
Because it was agony for me.
If you had to guess, what year was Firefly on TV?
Gosh, I don't know.
Late 90s, right? Was that right?
Late 90s. Oh my gosh.
I want to say like 2006?
2002.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was closer. I was closer. Late 90s.
The Serenity film came out in 2005. The Serenity film is 21 years old.
Wild. That's crazy.
Wild.
I don't like thinking about that.
And so I actually kind of want to say how I feel, and then I want to backtrack.
Well, real quick, one thing that helps me remember, at least kind of like timeline, a lot of these actors were in the Halo and ODST series, the voice actors. So it helps us remember that it was before then, if nothing else.
True.
So if you remember that, you can know it's before 2007.
I saw the Serenity movie before I saw the show. What about you guys?
I've actually not seen the movie.
Yeah, same.
I've only seen the show.
Yeah, I saw the movie before the show. I will say, so I would say Firefly and I have kind of a complicated relationship, because I liked it at first, right? But also my sister loved that show. And my sister and I have a very complicated relationship. And so, but like my sister, like that was like her personality, right? To a degree. Was like how much she liked that show. It was her comfort show. She watched it all the time. And so when my sister and I had a very big falling out, I also kind of had a falling out with the show. Right? Because like I'm not really interested. Like I very heavily associate this show with my sister. And while I liked the show, I didn't love it like she did. And I just want to clarify, it's one thing to like love a show and watch it all the time. It's a whole nother thing to love a show and watch it all the time when there's only like 6 episodes. You know? Like
just rinse, repeat, start it over. Yeah.
I don't think I've watched an episode of Firefly in at least 15 years, and I still know all of them very well. That's how often she would watch these episodes, right? On TV. Or not on TV, sorry, on DVD. And so for a while I liked it, and then I kind of was like, just let it die. You know? People like, oh, people love Firefly. Oh my gosh, Firefly this, Firefly that. Because in my opinion, there are better space things now. Right? I don't know that it would do well now if it came out now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
really
yeah, that's
different
true.
now.
That's a fair point.
I would argue that it didn't do well when it came out originally.
Well, and that's one of the reasons it got like it wasn't renewed. It was canceled, at that point because they didn't. Yeah, the numbers weren't there. But
So I've
then there
got
became
this.
a following, right? So
Well, I have emotional baggage with this show, but also I'm a little more of the mind that if people like it, then they can support it, and it's cool for it to come. It's cool to have it, right? If people
yeah,
like
they
it and it
just
comes
need
back, like good for them.
let the fans fund it if they want it to come back, and then if it doesn't do well, then they get what they expect.
Which it's not officially coming back, right? It seemed that like he still needs to pitch it to like a studio or a streamer or something for funding. Like they just have like a showrunner and an animation studio, and the actors are all lined up for it, but like they don't actually have any money for it. That's what it seemed like to me. Am I wrong in that?
Well, are they doing? Like I don't know all the background, but are they just doing like an animated thing, or are they just trying to do like okay? Well,
they're doing an animated
I don't
thing
think that would be too bad
before the Serenity movie because they want Wash to be involved, and the actor who played Shepherd Book passed, and so they will be recasting him.
Okay, interesting.
What I mean, not just to have Wash involved, but also because like Serenity does feel like an end, right? And like when it comes down to it, where do you take the story after Serenity? Like, I guess you could, but like it would just be
you can't stop the signal, Mal.
Yeah,
they could actually show
like,
how they meet Mr. Universe, right? Because like they don't show that. They're just like, we have to see Mr. Universe, and then there's this guy,
and there's just like a ton of like space there, pun intended, between
I like it.
The show and the movie. Yeah. I will play the other side of this coin actually, because I actually think that I don't think that any space epic handles humor the way that Firefly does. I think Firefly actually does a very unique integration of humor and like this old west like feeling of exploration, as opposed to like how a lot of space shows handle exploration as being this like new shiny like sci-fi like kind of thing. Whereas
I do like that for sure.
I feel like
I'm right there on board with you, D.
Yeah, I think Firefly does a very different way of approaching a space-based like sci-fi show than a lot of other shows do. Now,
well, I like the idea of that. Yeah,
keep
they're
it
trying
alive.
To survive. Yeah, trying to scavenge around the galaxy, and they don't have all the money in the world. Like I feel like a lot of these shows, where are these resources coming from? Versus Firefly is just like, man, they're having a rough time of it. They really are.
One, I'm also always a sucker for like a story that starts out with the bad guys winning. Like, I mean, because that just kind of like sets up the world in a really interesting way. I feel like, as long as it's not overdone, like I feel like that trope's really cool.
What was it? They were the rebels, the brown coats, but is it just the Alliance? Is that the bad guys, the Alliance? Should we have like hashtag the Alliance has done nothing wrong? Like the like what have they the I kind of agree. I agree. I should say that. I do agree with that, but on the flip side, as far as other media goes, I feel like we get a lot of that quippiness now from Marvel movies and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
Like
sure.
that
Yeah.
quippy
Right,
banter.
but it's not the
And
same kind of scene though. That's the thing. Marvel may
it's
have
not
the
the
banter,
same.
but they don't have like it's not the same genre
It's not
per
the
se.
same, but I also feel like superhero fatigue and like Marvel movie fatigue is going to rub off on that as far as like mainstream reaction to that kind of a thing. Like if you go back and I mean, Joss Whedon, very famously, it was made by Joss Whedon, who also directed the first two Avengers movies.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So they have a
And
very
so
similar.
a very similar tone. Not to say it's the same, but like if like superhero movies, which have some of the same DNA, I don't know if that's a right way to put it, but I think you guys are, get what I mean. If they're on the outs, I don't know that alone is like if it's gonna feel new or if it's just gonna feel like, oh, like I've seen stuff like this kind of a deal, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind
I
of
feel like
it's kind of flipping of the coin. I feel like, because it could very well be a little bit on the fatigue on that side, but see, this being so much different than that, I could see it, if it's done well, resurging not only the fans but new fans to like back to sci-fi, uh, on this level, more the Western. I mean, you got Fallout. People are loving that kind of. I mean, I know David especially. He wants to live in that world, that post-apocalyptic world. So
don't worry, we're getting there.
But so I think there is a lot of interest on
closer
that.
every day.
Yeah, on that run of people seeing that, something different, something out there, something not so much superhero, but like in other worlds, different experiences, Rebels versus the Alliance. I don't know. I mean, I love that kind of thing.
I'm excited about that it's animated.
No, I think that's really great. Like starting it up again, see how the animated's coming, in, and see how the numbers do. And I mean, there's nothing better than like getting a little animated going for a series that you really enjoy, especially for the fans. So, I mean, I'm excited for that.
They shared a still of some of the characters. The still that I've seen has Zoe, Inara, Mal, Jane, and River. And the art style is just beautiful. Like I actually find I mean, it looks like them. One, it is real, like kind of realistic, but it also looks very stylized. Like I don't know.
Oh,
I feel
great.
like they will be able to do a lot because it's animated, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that would help fill the gaps too if you have
especially
like
with these
live
actors
action.
being these actors being 25 years older too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was the thing right off the bat. I was like, well, they're all way older now, so like there's no way that, like, unless there's a time jump 25 years into the future, right? Like there's not going to be a situation here. But yeah, I've got mixed feelings about it. I've got mixed feelings. I'm leaning, I know this is different. I'm leaning positive though.
Interesting. Wait. Can we get that again? I need the replay on that.
I'm leaning positive. I've been skeptical and annoyed with Firefly in the past, but at the same time, it is a really happy thing to see a vocal fan base who loves something get that thing,
Yeah. And not after a short time. It's been a very long time.
It's been 20 years.
A long time coming. Yeah. And I like the idea of the animated, because even if the live action side of it doesn't work out, they can continue with the animated, and if it does well, they can keep on pumping out the story. That seems like a smart move to me. I really like that idea.
Yeah. Firefly was on TV before Battlestar Galactica came back. I want to throw that before the reimagined
that is kind
Battlestar
of crazy.
Galactica. Isn't that
I will say
wild?
Yeah, I'm also kind of a little bit like excited because it is like two showrunners who've like worked on like Dollhouse, or like Marvel's Agent Carter, or like I mean like like Arrow, which I mean people have mixed feelings about, but
well, I mean Arrow starting
and
out
they've also done
really
they've
exciting.
also done like one of them did Tales of Arcadia, which is a very popular like DreamWorks animation that was created for Netflix. So I mean, like he has experience in animation. Like I mean, like yeah. So I mean, like that does kind of like bring me some kind of like level of like confidence. I mean that, and obviously, Fillion has a lot of love for Firefly. He's never been shy about that. All the actors have never been shy about that. They all very much want to do this thing. It seems.
Well, and that goes a long way for helping a series anyways. If you have people passionate about
it. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, a passion for it carries it so far. Like, I mean, like, that was my biggest problem with, like, the Halo, like, TV show, was that it didn't seem like anyone cared about Halo. I mean, like, it's like,
right.
Okay, well,
yeah, they're like, okay, we learned about it yesterday. Yeah, I think I got this character under wraps. No. Okay, that's not how Chief acts. That's not Halsey that I know. Wait a minute. Okay, this is basically a new franchise.
Hey, don't talk that way about Master Cheeks. All right,
man. I will talk. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
I haven't seen the show. I haven't seen it. I think I'm gonna skip that
still
one.
haven't
I'm gonna
watched
be
any of it.
honest.
You know, I still haven't finished.
Of
I'm gonna be straight up with you. I just I don't know. I got distracted, and it's just like, why?
I
Put my
I should
will
watch
probably
season
one of these
2
days.
just to watch it, but man, I
But
really
again,
did not like
why?
season 1 at all.
It goes back to investing our time into things
Sure,
that,
and something that doesn't matter. Yeah, that's fair.
It
That's
doesn't
fair.
matter.
Yeah.
We know it's canceled. It's
Yeah.
time and energy. I don't know. Do I want to waste it? I don't know.
Yeah. Kind of like watching Firefly again. Am I right? Like, hey, it's canceled.
Hey, it's on
years
resurgence.
ago.
Of course, we're gonna watch it again.
Yeah, but I feel like, you know what? You can watch Firefly today, and I think it still holds up if you appreciate it for what it is. Like, I rewatch it every now and then, like every few years or so.
I wonder how well it holds up. Not just the visuals, but just the writing and all of that. I'm watching The Expanse right now.
To me.
I'm doing a rewatch of The Expanse. Like, how well does it hold up? You know?
Right. Yeah.
Because let me tell you,
oh man,
I started reading, talking about the early 2000s. I have started rereading the Dresden Files. I'm reading book 1, Stormfront.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I am enjoying it, but there are some parts that I'm like, there is no way that they would have allowed that to be in a book. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, it's a little dated, it feels like. That's what I was.
That's the beauty of history, though, you know?
I have some favorite shows of mine that I go to rewatch as I'm trying to fall asleep or whatever. And one of those shows, usually they're shows that I've seen hundreds of times over, right? They're just familiar noise at that point. One of them is Psych. There is no way Psych could ever come back and be what it was. Because Psych is just the irreverence that it has for a lot of topics just would be absolutely unacceptable in today's culture.
Right. I mean,
but I love how they just slapstick it and they just go right through it.
Yeah,
it's great.
In The Office,
man, such a good show.
The first episode of season 3 of The Office is
The Office is another one. Yeah,
it's literally titled "Gay Witch Hunt." Like, how great is that? Gay Witch Hunt is an episode, is a title episode of The Office. So good. Come on, but yeah, there's no way. Was there anything else last week that we wanted to cover, though? Because I specifically knew we wanted to talk about Firefly, and I remembered it at the end. We're all positive about it coming back.
Thing.
I don't think there's anything else that was besides that one, for sure.
Also, Johnny, so did you see? I don't know if you've seen this. I'm excited.
Oh no, it's the visual bit. What is this? Let me pull it up.
The visual bit.
There's a Wheel of Time movie coming out?
New Wheel of Time movies and TV shows officially happening.
What? Is it a continuation? Or are they rebooting it?
Essentially, I think it'll be relatively unrelated to the live action.
Okay, so this is so I think this would be a quick poll. Okay, so it says here there's an animated Wheel of Time series, a video game, and animated feature films in development. Okay, so question. How do we all feel about animation versus live action? Because for me, growing up, my dad refused to watch anything animated, and honestly, even still, he won't watch an animated thing. And he says, oh, it's for kids. It's for kids. I don't watch animated movies. They're for kids. Which is funny because then I'm like, Dad, the Avatar movie, with the blue people, that's basically all animated. And he's like, no, it's different. Yeah. I'm like, no, it is though. That they're not real. But
or the Marvel movies are basically,
are basically animated.
Yeah.
Well, and so it's interesting because I grew up with my father, right? Obviously, main father figure, feeling that way. But as an adult, I love animation. Well done animation. I really love it. I don't want to say I love it more than live action, but I get very excited about animated movies in a different way because I feel because they're not limited by reality, right?
Yeah.
They can express things in a really cool way.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that up, too. Honestly. It's funny that you bring that up because we've been watching through the Batman animated series with the kids, and then now Batman Beyond, two of my favorite series ever. And it's just if it's done right, I'm right there with you. They can capture you Yeah, they can capture
Yeah.
so much more in those series, and they can bring it to a place, and it can feel like you're really there versus like in live action series, you can see, oh, so many times you can see, unless it's done very, very carefully or very well, so many times you're like, oh, I see how they did this. Oh, they're limited by budget, those things. And it just takes away from immersing you into the series versus animation or, you know, whatever animated in a certain way stylistically or however they do the art. If it's done right, man, it's just it's great. It's great, and I highly recommend it. You know, like I can't say enough about those series, and there's so many others that I love. And if they do it right, they're gonna have plenty of people. I don't think it's limited to age, really, when it comes down to it. It's really about how carefully they're going to make the narrative of the story, create the universe, and how much attention to detail they give, you know, each one of these animated series that they come up with, you know, and you can really see it. You can really see it coming through the pages of this animation and the story, how they build the characters and everything. And it really, yeah, it really goes back to what we were talking about. Do you have actors that, you know, really, or not just actors, but directors and developers and all those who are in the production team? Do they really care about the story that they're working on? If they do, you'll see it come through. If not, you know, it'll just be half done. And people, when they watch it, whether it's subconscious or not, they can see that come through.
Right. And not to disparage like live action. Don't get me wrong. I love a good live action movie, right? But also, I think of the one of the shows that really got me to like kind of change my mind about this is, do you guys remember those like they were like 3 to 5 minute Clone Wars animated
Yeah.
shorts that were on Cartoon
Of
Network?
course. Yes.
And they showed like these characters that we know from live action, but like it was animated, and the stuff that they were able to do and show that like would just look silly, right? Like if it was real, right? It would look silly to
Yeah.
see Mace Windu jumping and flipping around a battlefield, like pirouetting around a battlefield the
We
way he
literally
was.
saw this in, like, I mean, as much as that fight is hype and everything, like Yoda fighting Dooku at the end of Attack of the Clones does look silly. Like when it comes down to it. Like it's cool. It's like, oh hey, this is the first time you see Yoda is like with a lightsaber and everything and all that jazz. First time you see him fight. Ooh, this is kind of neat, you know, like especially as a kid I loved it. But I mean
But it
like
doesn't have gravitas.
yeah, it's just hard to take seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have that
And
style. If it wasn't animated, it would just been like, oh yeah, that's sweet. Something about it having even maybe a little bit more crude animation just to make it, you know,
yeah.
be
Whereas I
specific.
have no problem like believing that Mace Windu could take on that giant, like huge metal, like floating,
Stomping
like
thing. Yeah.
stomping thing.
Well, that or just in general, like I really love it. I would love animated versions of most live action things, to be honest with you. Of like I wouldn't think that's a waste of money as long as the animation and the animators, I mean this comes back to what you said, Farm, are passionate and
Mhm.
they want to use their medium, right? Like to use the medium in a way that makes sense. So yeah, an animated Wheel of Time show, honestly, that sounds really cool because that can make like, you know, weaving and stuff like that. They could show it differently and it could be really cool.
Like, I mean, like, no offense against the show, but like, I did not like the way that they depicted certain things. And
Yeah.
weaving was one of those things where it didn't look great, but it's also difficult to depict that in a live action setting without like a
Right.
tremendous
How do you do
budget
it?
and like, yeah,
Right?
I mean,
How do
yeah,
you do it? Like I don't know. One of the
and make it
things
look
that I like
real.
to
Like, I
do
mean, yeah,
One of the things that I like to do nowadays when I criticize something, not just to be a hater, is not just criticize it, but try to think of, okay, well, like how would I make it better?
Right.
right,
If I was
exactly,
if
yeah,
Yeah.
I was there, what would I say to them to try to make it better? And like with like the weaving, the visuals of the weaving, I don't really know how to make that better, like with the constraints that they had. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Well, and like,
that
I
one might
mean,
just be the
It's
way it
so
is.
easy, like growing up, especially like you're like, oh man, that's just, you know, be judgmental and say, oh, that's just terrible. It's just terrible. And then putting your shoes like in a more realistic format now that you're an adult, like again, how could I do it better? Yeah, it's just like it takes you to a different place. And I think it's really important to have that for sure, that perspective. What's interesting too, like we're talking about live action to animated. When we see it, we flip it around the other way. Everything that's been like animated, Disney has been doing this a lot, obviously. Everything that's been animated and coming to live action, we usually don't like. And so it's interesting to kind of flip it on its head. I think just in general, I prefer going from live action to animated versus the opposite because it usually doesn't work out for live action.
Well, and
they actually just released stills of The Rock from the Moana live action movie. They just released some stills of how he looks compared to Moana, and the internet is tearing him apart. Like they're like, geez. even with his wig, he looks bald.
See,
but like, I mean, like,
some things shouldn't be remade. Okay,
I would say that my biggest problem with like a lot of the live action or remakes of the animated properties is that they don't carry like the same level of like action and whimsy and like magic that the animated things
the attention to detail, really. I mean, they again, I know it sounds cheap, but it definitely feels like they're trying to make a quick buck, you know.
And I would say like the most successful live actions have been the ones that like kind of did like the story in a different way, right?
Yeah,
and didn't really follow the animated version.
Cinderella, the live action Cinderella. I'll die on this hill. That is a great movie.
That was the one that came to mind as well. That's actually one of the better ones for sure, if not the best one.
Totally different. It's totally different than the animated one, though. And I think part of it, Farm, goes back to like what you said. I feel like when they do live action from an animated movie, they play it too safe. They're like, we're just going to take this animation and make it live action. They don't lean into the strengths of live action, which would be like the performance of the actors.
But they do that, but then they also like they play it even safer than the animated version did too.
Right. Yeah.
Whether that's because of like budget constraints or what, you know, I mean, like the Lion King, like live action being documentary style or whatever. Like, I mean, like that was a stupid move. Like when it came down to it, like you don't have fireworks going off during the I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Come on. Like you have talking animals all over the place, but you don't have fireworks. What?
Figure it out.
There's no Mushu in Mulan because they're like, oh, we want to lean more into like a realistic thing, but then like the bad person is a witch who can turn into a bird. You're like, what is this?
Yeah, they should have figured that one out because, man, the animated series just kills it, and then you watch that, it's like, what happened here?
But
so I'm excited about this. I'm way more again. Like, I mean. Things when people seem to be passionate about things, I get really excited about it. The fact that like the same studio that did the Prime like live action series is the one that's like heading this up, I think is really cool. I think also that a producer from Arcane, which is like arguably one of the best like animated things to come out in like this modern era, I think is really, really cool.
Who's watched Arcane? Has anyone here watched Arcane? I've only seen the first 3 episodes. I've not seen more than the first 3 episodes of Arcane, and I want to.
I've not seen any of it, but I've heard really, really, really good things.
It's really cool. It's really
on my list.
Well done. I will say this: I watched like the first episode, and I was like, I don't get it. And then like we stopped, and I think we even watched the second episode, and it still hadn't hooked me quite yet. But then like by the third episode, I was like, oh, I see what this show is. And it got me. It's such a good show.
Yeah, that's one I still haven't watched for sure. Another series that's coming out like for the it's next season. Daredevil? I think I read.
Oh yeah, it's coming out soon. Daredevil Born Again season 2 is coming out at the end of this month. Soon.
Yeah. Like just a few days away. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, maybe so like Chiho and I are watching The Expanse and we just finished season 2. Maybe we'll take a break from The Expanse and watch Daredevil. No, we need to finish season 3 and then there's a natural break at season 4 so we can watch Daredevil season 2 and then season 4. That
so I still haven't watched the
Expanse too.
The reborn Daredevil stuff, but I remember
it's
Daredevil.
Very good.
Yeah, I remember I mean, I really enjoyed it when it came out on the Netflix side of things. That was the best one, in my opinion, out of all of them that came out. And so I'm excited to jump back in soon. it's just
Daredevil is such a
such a good
good
dynamic.
character.
Yeah,
He's
it
such
really
a good
is.
character.
Yeah.
Like Chiho and I were talking about him about how like Daredevil, especially like the Daredevil and Punisher juxtaposition, right? Where they both had bad things happen to them, but
where they
Matt
land on it.
believes in humanity, and giving people second chances, and that's like really beautiful. But then even Frank, right, like is like, no, like some people just need to be put down, and like the pragmatism and understanding that too, of
Right.
like I watched that scene where like Daredevil's tied up on the rooftop and they talk back and forth about it. I've watched that scene so many times of just like, man, you know what?
Well, and it's just like even at that point when they're having that conversation versus the things that he has to fight through, the inner demons, if you will, that he's fighting through making these decisions too. It's not like it's just like he's come to this realization all of a sudden. No, it's just like he's fighting through so much, and it's like so much of humanity right there. I mean, he is very vulnerable, very human, very much something we can connect to as a a superhero versus all these things he's struggling. He got superpowers, but it's also he has limitations. He has things that are going on, things that we all struggle with, things like that. It's just like this is
the biggest difference
huge
between Born Again and the Netflix Daredevil is that you can tell that Disney's got budget. There's a bunch of shots when you watch it that you're like, they would have never shown, like, and it's not in like a bad way, but there were multiple times when Chiho and I watched it, they were like, wow, you can tell they got a big budget compared to the previous ones, because like, they wouldn't have shown him do these acrobatics
or
the
like
Netflix
the whole
version.
walking camera and things. I love if they do
There's
that
a lot
right.
of
I
those
love
kinds
the
of
whole
things.
moving camera and everything.
Yeah.
Those are just great.
Lot of
but
things
they're hard to
like, wow,
do.
The budget's so good, but even with the budget and all that stuff, the best thing about it is that the best superhero things I've seen have still been two people in a room talking about what it means to be a hero, right?
Right.
That scene that I keep rewatching, that's two actors on a roof talking about what do you do, right? Like, and the
just
value
breaking
of
it
human
down,
life. It's powerful, powerful stuff.
Yep.
So good, man. I forgot about that. I'm excited. I have some news that I wanted to share on the podcast.
Okay.
You guys, I just bought another Switch 2.
Oh my goodness!
Congratulations.
I literally, that's why I
Are
was
we?
at the bank.
Is anybody really surprised? I'm sorry. I came out of
bank.
last week's podcast thinking, okay, there's doubt whether he's not going to do it or not. But not.
The key difference is I bought an international one, so I'll be able to handle everything in English. Which the main reason I brought the other one back was because while I felt that there's enough games I can change the language in English and do this kind of stuff, I knew that like the next Zelda game, they don't have you choose language. By the time the next Zelda game comes out, I'll want to buy an American Switch too, right? Like I was already thinking that on day one of having the console of like, I'm going to need to get a new one of these in the next few years. And I just felt that if I'm feeling this way, I should take it back, right? If I'm already planning to get it to replace this, I should take it back. So I got an American one and I bought Pocopia. I'm so pumped. Oh my gosh.
Excited to start that. I'm planning on starting that next month, so I'm very excited about it.
I also I'm just excited. I'm excited about you guys. So that's why I was at the bank. I was busy buying a Switch 2, and also I have we've made some changes around the house. Part of it, guys, have you watched or seen anything about like Monster Hunter Stories, like these games?
Like a little bit, like peripherally, I would say. Sure.
The first game looked very kiddie to me on the Switch. Second game too. But the third game, I've been watching my son play it on the Switch too. It's beautiful. Very stylized, very cool. Like it's very well done. I've never been interested in playing these games. I kind of want to play this game, to be honest with you. Like it looks really sweet. And so maybe that'll be another one. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm back on the Switch 2 train. I think in no small part, I've been transcribing songs from Pocopia, right? So for people who don't know, so basically I'm listening to the song and I'm like transcribing and writing out like the chords and the melodies of the songs because I want to do covers of them. And they don't have any sheet music or MIDI or anything online. So I've been transcribing songs from it because I want to release some songs from it. And it's been making me want to play the game even more. Right? Like, of course, I'm just listening to the music on repeat all afternoon. Can't wait, you guys. Cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's just like Bocopia. It's interesting that the cozy games are like system sellers for Nintendo. Like it makes sense, but it's not something that I would have necessarily called.
I mean,
well, and it's one of those things. If you tap into it, yeah.
I mean, Animal Crossing sold a ton of Switches. Yeah,
yeah, and it's something about those type of games that it's once you tap the community into it, if they find a game that they really like, and which is interesting, they will. I mean, I think it's great, but it's like one of those things that they will continue to come back to those games and they find replayability in them, and that's great. But it's just not something you would expect, especially if most of us coming from like AAA title shooter experiences. It just catches you off guard, at least for me.
Very true. And very true.
Bocopia just looks like such a fun time in a world that you kind of already know. And so, like, I'm always appreciative of that. And it also looks like, it's neat to see like a different take on Pokemon after seeing like Game Freak and Pokemon Company like do the exact same thing year after year after year.
Right. Well, it's nice to see, like, to me, one of the big things for me with Pokopia is it looks like, and I've watched some people stream it, everything I like about Animal Crossing and like those kinds of games without the stuff I don't like. Right?
Sure, yeah.
Like, and I'm like, okay, this seems cool. I can get behind this. I can get behind it.
It's crazy to me too that like Animal Crossing has gotten updates it has too. Like that's like a very, I feel like, major change from Nintendo's previous like game philosophy when it came down to it. And granted, they're like shadow drops essentially. Like you don't know when or if they were even working on another update or whatever. They just kind of put it out, and then it's like, okay, here. But I think it's actually really cool that like they essentially, instead of being so insular as they have been in the past, like listening to like what a lot of people wanted and like responding to that. Like, I think that's really, really cool to see like Nintendo adapt in that way. Especially as like, like feedback has become like easier to give and like easier to like see, maybe a little bit too loud at times, but
Well, and part of my buying it farm was I'm a little worried about prices rising.
That's true.
That's fair.
I mean, I could see that.
Like, I don't know. I don't think Nintendo's increased the price of their hardware, but I've definitely seen both PlayStation and Xbox continue to like raise the prices of theirs.
Yeah, every release is getting more expensive. Of course, they're implementing new things, but I mean, as you see with RAM going up, and being where it's at, it's just like, there's no, in the foreseeable future, we don't see it going down by any means. So yeah, I mean, now's the time to kind of.
And if those prices go up, they probably.
I mean, 6 months from now, who knows? But I'm assuming, and I think everybody else is too. 6 months from now, things will at least go up a bit, if not,
exactly.
Who knows? 5-10% at least.
This is what I talked with my wife about, because she was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, we could wait, but like also there is like, look at everything going on, in the world and all of that as well. And with these prices, like if we wait, we may just end up paying more. Right. So we might as well get it now and just wait. I mean, we talked about this with like, my Series S and my Series X. Those are more now than they were when I bought them.
Yep. I was looking at, I have on my wish list at Sweetwater this guitar that I saw it when it first came out, and I just put it on there. And it's interesting. They don't tell you when they go up, but I remember when it first went on there just because, I have in my memory. But I know for a fact these type of guitars, and they were like a mini specialty series, limited series kind of guitars. Anyways, I went back the other day, and it's like $200 extra than when it first came out. I'm like just shocked. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy that now, but it's still, it's just like you don't see the increase unless you have something to mark it on. If you have something to go by, then you realize things are really across the board moving up quickly. So it's like, if you have the budget or if you have a little bit of room, now's the time kind of to get those items, maybe not all of them, obviously, because we all have a budget, but still the main ones you got to go for it.
To just not know like when things even like possibly might come down again is just crazy to me. Because like we were like, I mean, COVID at least was like a pretty like recognizable, like, okay, yeah, things will get expensive for a while and then they'll start coming down. But to see like the trajectory just come up and like not know when it'll come back down again is like rough. Because it's like, what do you stock up on now? And like, when will you be able to buy it again at like a reasonable price if it does rise? Like, I mean, like, it's just
and that's kind of the gamble, because there's no real guarantee. The things
right.
Like real estate around my area is kind of like we've been waiting for it to kind of pop, but I just don't know if it's going to. Eventually, it has to, but at this point, it's super good to be selling right now. Not so good to be buying at all. You don't want to be buying because it's just like it's super unrealistic. Like if you live in this area, to it's crazy. It's just like crazy how things have shifted over the like last 4 or 5 years, and eventually it will come down. In a certain manner of speaking, it won't come down to what we used to know, though. It never does.
Yeah.
So that's something you just have to gauge. Like what's the highest priority at the moment,
Well, sure, but like I mean, like when costs like completely outpace like living wages and stuff, like I mean that's a whole nother bucket of like like I mean like that's way different than like like a normal increase. I mean
for sure,
right.
That's the battle we all face.
But you know what has become more valuable to me in recent
this is the
my
sponsor
apartment.
Read. This is the sponsor read portion of the podcast.
Is my VPN software? No, although maybe also, but
brought to you by.
But I have been pretty like relatively like harsh critic, albeit like not super loudly, not like Aragon level, of Nyland's Halo books. And
because you hate Halo.
Actually, right. Because I hate Halo. Just because I don't necessarily like Nyland's writing. Nothing against him personally or whatever, but like I mean like he could be better. No, I'm just kidding. But
but also, I mean, we could all be better. So I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that...
right. We all could improve.
Well, and to be fair, I haven't read like anything recent by him at all. So I mean, like it's like he probably has improved quite a bit from like the Fall of Reach, But I remember reading the first couple chapters of Fall of Reach and going, like I mean, like I just really don't like this guy's writing. I am now done with the Fall of Reach. Like how many years later? And it's actually one thing that Nyland does really well that the Halo show didn't do very well is actually puts you in the world of Halo. Right. Where like you actually like, okay, this is the world I recognize from the games. So even if the writing isn't necessarily like, even if I'm not the biggest fan of the writing, like I definitely got invested in like, oh yeah, no, this is Master Chief. This is the Spartans. This is like the Halo universe. This is the Covenant, and everything. And I got super immersed. And so like, I mean, I guess.
Well, and there's something to be said about Halo keeping it a certain way. They again, not saying his writing one way or another, but there was definitely like a project.
Say it sucks.
No, I kind of agree with David on the Fall of Reach, even maybe up to First Strike with Eric Nyland, but
he's
really
on first name basis with him.
I really love Ghost of Onyx, though. That was one of my favorites That's my favorite in the series up to this point. I love that book. So, and it's more of the story. Again, there's a certain projection that I think that they were trying to do. Halo has to have it more like narrative in a way of like almost officer format. We stated it like where we are, the sector, and that's more dry that way, but it makes it real to what the franchise is going for. So there is that balance of the dryness too, versus other ways that they capture it. So I don't know. I mean, I agree, but again, Ghost of Onyx, if you haven't read that one, that's the one that kind of changed it for me. For him.
And I would also say I thought that the Fall of Reach basically was decanonized by the Reach game because of the actual Fall of Reach and how that happened. When ultimately it's simply that like the people on Reach don't seem to realize that the Covenant are a thing in the Reach game. Like they're encountering them for the first time. Like that's really the only like real difference kind of is that like in the books the war's been going on for a while, and like in the game like it's like no, you were actually just trying to put down some resistance fighters and you came across the Covenant.
Yeah, when it came the time to release, I think this comes back to Bungie. They just decided they wanted to do something different because I mean the book had been out for a while, like 9 years, versus them coming back and probably rewriting around 2008. I guess more like 8 years. I guess 2008, 2009 for the game to come out in 2010. And they, I never get that. I never understand why. Okay, if we have the story this way, why are we going to change it for the games? But they did that a ton.
I think
not just with Halo, but a bunch of other franchises.
They have that freedom.
Like, and I think also like in the game, you want that first contact, right? You do. Yeah. Like, I mean, when humans first encountered a Covenant, you kind of want that moment to be like a moment that players can experience.
Is that
and I don't
how
know
it
how
feels
you do
in
that.
the game? Because I didn't feel like in the game that was first contact. Like we don't know who these are. Like I felt like in the game they knew what the Covenant was. They were just surprised that they were there on Reach. I haven't played Reach in a while, but I didn't feel like
they did know what they were because this was after Contact, Harvest and everything.
Oh, that's true.
They did know what the Covenant were per se, but they had no idea.
Book, right?
Yeah, they had no idea. Yeah, Contact Harvest, is like the first sighting of anything to do with the Covenant.
Right. But the books don't necessarily like mean the game's the same. But I see what you're saying.
Right. But in if my memory serves me right, in the game they do mention.
It's been a while since I played Reach too. We should play Reach.
We should play it. Yeah, play it. But they do mention like, okay, these we did not expect them to be here. We knew that they were around maybe the sector or around the galaxy,
right? Because they know about the different kinds of elites and stuff. They're like, oh,
right.
These
At that point,
zealot,
they already are educated,
kind of a deal.
They already educated about this, the aliens and their different, their rank, I guess, along the Covenant.
Okay, so then what I would say then, if that's the case, which I would say then that there is actually nothing wrong with the way that like Reach actually like depicts things, as opposed to like. I don't think that it actually conflicts with the book. Then, I would say.
Well,
I like yes, not in any major way.
Yes and no, but yeah, there's some there's huge differences, but yeah, I mean they can exist.
Well, what are some of the differences? Because like I feel like I just came off the book, so I'm curious. It's been a while since I played Reach, so I'm not as familiar with that.
So the whole thing with Halsey versus how they handled it in the book was quite a bit different. Like they didn't show you anything about the program or anything, underneath the mountain, and they just very much like gave you just like a sliver, and then they changed it to how they wanted the narrative of the video game to work at the end with you taking Cortana and all that, which I believe.
Sure, I guess the taking of Cortana, yeah. I mean,
it's very different.
She's already on Pillar of Autumn in the book,
right?
Yeah,
right.
I guess that's true.
So there's all like they rewrote
but
it
Halsey
for
is
Noble
still
Team.
underground, right? In the game.
Yeah.
Isn't
So
like that a whole thing? Yeah.
it's not a big change, but they're from point A to point B is a little bit different on how they do it, and they pretty much rewrite the story just a little bit to fit Noble Team in there.
Sure, but like
but I feel like it's one of those things that it doesn't contradict the story, right? So
right.
like
It's pretty much like it could have happened this way,
and
kind of
then
thing.
The Reach game takes place at the same time with a different focus, right? Of
right.
people.
Because like my rationale for like how Noble Team happens is that essentially there could be this Spartan 3 program, which is not in the book at all, right? At least in terms of Fall of Reach. Like the Spartan like 3 program could be ongoing, but like the Spartan 2s don't know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like I mean like and so the Spartan 3 is not like expecting the Covenant to be on Reach or whatever, like could be like part of that. Where like they're kind of conscripted into this thing. Like I feel like you could justify Noble Team's existence as like not being in conflict with the Fall of Reach like book at all. As like being like just like it's just not mentioned because like the book focuses on, for the most part, the Spartan 2s and everything.
Right, and even more so the beginning of that versus like
and a little bit
Reach
on Halsey,
the game is like so much like further in the like towards the end of Reach as a whole.
Which Halo books are canon though? Are they all canon? Did they only start making them canon when they like? Because like I really love the Karen Travis books, but I don't know. Other than those, I don't know like all of the prequel books. What was it? Who's the guy who did that?
I feel like all of them are canon.
Greg Bear
did
the
I think Reach
some
the
of
video
the
game
prequels,
is not
the
as much
Forerunner
canon.
stuff.
So like all the books
Reach
are
the video game?
the
No,
canon,
Reach is the video game has to be canon over the books.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yes.
Like because
it's
started
like literally
from video games. It's like Star Wars, right? Like the Star Wars.
Well, Bungie's like the original like
uncanon stuff.
arbiter of what's canon and not. Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, I guess to a certain point, but yeah.
Like the original artist gets to kind of decide that for what it is.
Yeah.
So like the whole reason I started Fall of Reach was that because I was that one night that I was at work overnight, I got bored, and so I bought all of the Karen Travis books because it turns out that I didn't own all of them. I owned like 2. And then I remembered, oh yeah, so I started reading the first one because I'm like, wait a second, why did I not read this? And I started reading it, and then I realized, oh yeah, it's because I didn't read the like Greg Bear books that came out at the same time. And so like I bought the Greg Bear books then, and then I was like, okay, I remember reading the first one of this, but like, wait a second, I should probably like look up the reading order because all of these are prequels, you know? Like, I mean, like these shouldn't be like necessarily super relevant to like the Karen Travis books. Like, I mean, in terms of context, sure, but like, so then I look it up and like Eric Nyland's series actually like leads directly into Karen Travis's books, which I didn't realize. So I bought all of Eric Nyland's books. Yeah. Cause her first book literally references events that happen in Ghost of Onyx, I believe.
Yes, which I've not read, but she talks about that.
Yeah.
Quite a
bit. Yeah. So I wanted to read everything in order. So I spent a ton of money on books there. And then when I was on vacation, I also bought a ton of physical books. I don't know why. I mean, I love physical books, but they're heavy. And yeah, so I've been buying a lot of books.
Especially if you get the good ones, the hardback covers,
and I have some good hardback covers. Yeah,
there's some nice ones out there. Whew, gotta love those. But they are heavy. They are heavy. You could say they're page turner. Anyways,
that's funny.
Has she released more? I'm like looking it up right now. It does not appear that she has released more, sadly.
But my whole thing was, I want a good book, and I know Karen Travis is a great writer, and I don't want to reread Republic Commando because that'll just make me sad.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, she did a trilogy with the Kilo 5 trilogy: Glasslands, The Thursday War, and Moral Dictata, which I have read all of them. Very sad. What has she written? She doesn't seem to have written anything recently.
But anyway, my whole point being that I was wrong about Eric Nyland. He does a pretty good job as an author of like bringing that world to life, even if I don't love his writing in that first book.
Yeah, the first book just again, I kind of have a little bit of issue with the first book too, just because it just seems like very much the stuff that we've already gone over or rehashed. But I mean, it has to be that way. I get it. The other stuff I was so much more interested in, especially once they got to like First Strike, even the Flood a little bit. But like once First Strike started, you started getting a little bit of the filling in the gaps of the things that we don't know. And once you start getting there, then they can start to expand. And that's a Ghost of Onyx was just a whole new story, and that's why I love that one so much. It's just like it's not a Master Chief story really, and it's just really good. Just a really good story overall. I'd love to actually play that. You know, I would think it'd make a good like DLC or something like on a franchise of Halo. It would be great. I don't know. I don't know if it ever happened, but that book is probably my favorite.
But also reading Fall of Reach made me realize how much I really wish that Helldivers had like some kind of like either Halo, like actual Halo like game that was styled after it, or like a collaboration. Because my gosh, like Spartans just dropping in the middle of like enemy forces would be epic, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
that would be
I'd
absolutely
love to see
like
more Halo
in line,
collaboration for
or
sure.
even ODSTs, you know? I mean, like, yeah.
Well, they could even, Helldivers could even bring in some story a little bit if they wanted to, instead of just being dropping in and, doing what you got to
Yeah.
do. But they could really bring in some narrative if they wanted to their own franchise.
Well, they kind of already do like the story through like the missions and everything of what's
Yeah,
going
a
on
little
in
bit, but
like
I'm
the
just
larger, yeah.
like more like campaign style, like, an
Sure.
actual
Yeah.
story, or they could even just do it outside of the actual video game if they wanted. There's potential there.
Yeah. But also like, man, like Halo Infinite should have like had like some other aspects to it.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like a like battle royale kind of like, like drop down like Helldivers esque like thing would have fit really well in
Yeah,
Halo
some
Infinite.
collab with that, and with as rich again, talking back to the book series, with as rich as the Halo series is, with so much content out there outside of what's in the video games, because really when it comes down to it, the video games just scratch the surface.
Yeah,
there's just so much potential there that's untapped, and it's still untapped. I really hope that they start delving into the lore a little bit more.
I just got into a conversation with a friend about how one of the things that's really hard with Halo is where they left it.
Oh yeah.
And like, the first trilogy and like Reach and ODST are great, but then like 4, 5, and 6, and just no word on what's coming next, right? Is
Well, the only word is we're going backwards, and
right,
that's hard to
exactly,
swallow.
exactly.
Same thing with Gears, I mean, I'm not a
Yeah.
huge lore Gears fan, but with Judgment being like, okay, hey, we're going backwards, we're gonna start this prequel. We dropped that whole cliffhanger on Gears 5, but guess what? We're not even going
We're
to go
going
back
back
to it.
again to like to Gears
When are
1,
we going to get
essentially.
that story
Yeah.
finished? Like, come on. I really enjoyed both the Gears and 5. So, yeah, I'm just waiting.
Gears 4 and Gears 5. I mean, and they both like got pretty high scores, I think, too. But like, I mean, like, it's crazy how much like the internet just complains like it's just more Gears or whatever. When like, like essentially they're both like, in my mind at least, like 9 out of 10 games. I think they were like 8 or 9.
Well, and they brought some cool things to 4 and 5 that, 3 was kind of, you could definitely tell it
And I
was
thought they were good.
on its way out, like it wasn't as good, but 4 came back and it was solid, with the story and the game mechanics. It was great.
I thought they were good continuations of the story while introducing it into like a new era. And like, yeah, they both ranked like 85 on Metacritic, give or take mid. So I mean, like, like it's just like it's wild that like they don't get like their flowers, so to speak. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
like, yeah.
Gears 5 had Johnny's favorite mechanic in the game. You know, that
Oh my gosh, the
third
best,
player
the
mechanic.
best Gears game I've ever played. Let's go.
So, I mean, there's something to be said for them trying new things too. So,
Yes, yeah.
I really want to,
Like, I
want to
wasn't the
see that
world's
continuation.
biggest fan of, like, you know, like the pseudo open world, like, you know, thing. Even though the ship was fun to drive, like it kind of felt like, why is this here? You know, but
Yeah,
like,
you know, but that was the era. Everybody's trying to do the open world thing,
that's
and
true. Yeah,
you know, for better or for worse, that's what we got. Man, it was frustrating because all the games that came out at that time, you know, or roundabouts, you know, they just didn't service it right. You know, it just wasn't. They were trying to do a co-op game in a single player style, and it just didn't work out. Like I wish it would have. I wish they would have figured it out. But again, with the same thing they did with Infinite, same thing across the board. Like it's
yeah.
really hard to tailor that unless you're playing a single player game. Like so many games that do it well. Like I mean, for me, Horizon Zero Dawn, super great game, but it's a single player game, and that's their bread and butter. That's what they do. They do it great. And you know, Breath of the Wild is another one. You know, they just open world game like that, great for single player. We're still yet to see a really good co-op game that does that perfectly, you know.
I have a really random question I want to ask you guys before we wrap up. When you look up movie showings in America, how far ahead does the theater have their schedule?
It's a good question, actually.
If I'm asking,
I want to say like a week or so.
If I'm looking ahead to like if I want to watch something next, like something coming out or something that's already out.
Both. Just a week. So it is just a week.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a week usually, give or take. Yeah,
because like I want to see
a couple things come
except
out
for like special events, like
yeah, there was a couple things that came out like the Lord of the Rings when they were re-showing the beginning of this year.
Right,
you could do those 3 or 4 weeks in advance.
Because I want to go see Project Hail Mary in theaters.
Oh, sure, I do too. Actually, I almost went today. Right? Yeah,
and the problem is that like I can only look today. So they only have a schedule up through Thursday. I think on Thursday they refresh their schedule for the week, which to me is crazy. But
I'm curious now. I want to double check this. I'm seeing some stuff out on the 1st of April. Okay, let's check later. Okay, I see a few things on the 5th of April. But like that's only like what, 4 movies, and I know that like that's not their full lineup, I don't think.
Yeah,
and it's
I'm
really
seeing
both of the theaters close to me. They both have through like they refresh on Thursday apparently every week. Like Friday to Friday is there, or like Friday to Thursday is the schedule that they post online.
Oh, like now I'm wondering though, because like now I can see things on like the 11th of April. Which seems kind of crazy to me. The furthest I can see out, besides like special events, is like the 16th. But that's only
showing. The furthest I can see out is literally 2 days that I can see. And
2 days. Wow,
both theaters,
that's
rough.
They seem to do on Friday. They have it, and it goes through till next Thursday. Does that make sense? So on Friday they'll release, or maybe on Thursday they'll release their schedule, and it'll be for a week. And I'm at like the tail end of the week right now.
Interesting. So my theater here locally, for anything that's like new releases or something that's coming out soon, it's usually just about a week and a half. Now, I know for a fact, like the special releases, you can get a little bit, maybe like 2, maybe 3 weeks. But yeah, that's the furthest out they've got for us. Like, yeah, April 1st is like everything I'm seeing right now.
But also, you guys don't need to look up times for like when are they showing something in English. You know, that's my big thing.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. That's a specialty showing for you. So yeah,
it is. It's a cinephile showing of people who want to watch it in the original language versus dubbed. But on that note, do we have any closing comments, D?
I don't think so.
All right, well, you guys know what Yeah, play Halo. You guys know what to do. Like and subscribe and do all the stuff. Also, make sure to check out the audio-only visual podcast. You know, go ahead and check out the video of it as well. We'll catch y'all later. Bye. Get out of here, Craig.